Had the House of Representatives allowed that kind of bill a simple yes or no vote, they would have passed with support from both parties. And today it would be the law. But for a year and a half now, Republican leaders in the House have refused to allow that simple vote.
Much like Harry Reid refused to bring to the floor of the Senate 350 bills. Welcome, folks, to the show. That was Barack Obama yesterday doing what he said he would do, and he doesn't care what the repercussions will be, and the Republicans don't know really yet how to combat it and what they will do in response. Now, John Boehner's lawsuit against Barack Obama over Obamacare has gone forward. It's been filed, if you will, and that is now officially underway. But that does not include anything from the executive order announced last night to be signed into law today, presumably, and we'll have to wait and see. What Obama did is unprecedented, notwithstanding the lie he told that it's been done by every president for the last 50 years, Democrat and Republican. And I thought Charles Krauthammer had a great series of responses to what Barack Obama did and said last night. Let's watch.
But most important, if he feels so strongly about this and Scripture dictates that this ought to be done, why did he do nothing about this in 2009 and 2010 when he had control of the White House, the House, and the Senate, and he could actually have done this constitutionally by passing legislation?
All right. Now,
he wants the issue, and he wants to use it, and that's what he's got.
Right. Because in his speech yesterday, the president is quoted from Scripture. That's how important it is to him. It's who we are. But thy neighbor, whatever he quoted, I don't know exactly. And here's, as Charles correctly points out, Obama had 2 years. If this was so important to him for years and years, he had the first 2 years of his presidency with a filibuster-proof Senate and a majority in the House, and he could have passed it the constitutional way, but he wanted to make it a political issue. A political issue. So he held on to it for 5.5 years, almost 6 years. I wish the Hispanic community would understand what he did, how he played politics with them, and if you're Hispanic, with you. Here's more from Charles Krauthammer.
Shut the border, reduce the river of illegal immigration to a trickle, and the country will rally around a legalization. But not if they think that this is, as this executive order actually is, an invitation for anybody to come across the border and to know that ultimately they will be legalized.
Absolutely. This is a neon sign. Come, come. Stay here long enough. Break the law long enough, and you will be rewarded. You, your children, your family, you'll all be rewarded. That's what Obama put up yesterday, a neon sign. Here's one more.
This executive action is a gigantic neon sign on the Rio Grande saying to Central Americans and to other people around the world, if you wait in line and you apply for legal immigration, you're a sap. You come here illegally, you have children, and eventually you will be legalized. But this will cause a complete new cohort. We're going to have 11 million new illegal immigrants. In 10 or 15 years, we will be through this again and again.
Absolutely. And of course, neon sign is not his original term or my original term. It's been used for years with regard to these kinds of actions. But Charles Krauthammer is brilliant. So I don't take anything away from him by any means. Okay, Ferguson. Some schools in Ferguson will be closed next week in anticipation of the verdict from the grand jury. The school district in Jennings, which is in close proximity to Ferguson, they have announced they are closing their schools next week. They're closed already for next week. And, you know, this thing is going to come down. Now, the officer who shot Michael Brown, Darren Wilson, is negotiating reportedly his resignation from the police force in Ferguson. You know, no surprise, it's kind of hard to continue on in that job in that town. He'd be a marked man, literally or figuratively, one way or another, in that town, certainly. And look, if people want to riot, if people want to, throw things at cops, if people want to be violent and destructive, they're going to pay the consequences at the hands of the police. You cannot have a civil society where you allow the loons to riot and pillage and burn. You just can't do it. And who are they harming if they do it? They're harming the neighborhoods in which they riot. Simple as that. And based on the evidence, if the evidence and the reports we've gotten about the evidence are accurate, there's no way this officer should be indicted. Much to the chagrin of Sonny Hostin at CNN and Jeffrey Toobin at CNN and all the rest, although I don't know where Toobin stands on this, to be honest with you, so I take that back, but I could predict based on past performance. We're going to talk about all of this and so much more with the Malzberg panel, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you go away.